All right, welcome back. So this is where we are going to pick up from. And if you did not get this far, you can go back to video 1 and get caught up. So in essence, in essence, what we have here are 4 buildings, A, B, C, and D. We have building C over here, which is shorter. And then the last one, building D over here, we have a building that is the same size as building A and B, but there is a building separation, which means that could be a road or an alley. We also have our window over here and a door over here. And according to the worksheet that we're following right here, we are going to move on to step number 17. And so in step number 17, we are actually going to start with a sidewalk or a curb. Curb would be probably a little more correct here. So with a curb, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit smaller size of line here. And I think that's the smallest I can get. Okay, so in step number 17, we're going to start with a curb that is somewhere in this front area of the picture. And we're going to start with a vertical line. Now this is going to be a really short line. I mean, this is a curb. And in all actuality, a curb is probably 6 inches. On our paper, it's going to look tiny. Mine might look just a little bigger because I want you to be able to see it for on the screen and depending on where you're at in the classroom. So that's a little big, okay? It's also a little crooked. But this is our short vertical line that is going to be, let me see what it looks like. There we go. That is our short vertical line for the curve that's right there in front of the building. All right, so then in step number 18, we are going to go from that vertical line to the left-hand vanishing point, and from that vertical line, we are going to go from the bottom of it also to the left-hand vanishing point. And that is step number 18. All right, 19, we draw the other side of the curve. So we are going to go from the top of the vertical to the right-hand vanishing point and the bottom of the vertical to the right-hand vanishing point. And if you have been watching from the the start of this video to now, this would be a good stopping point to just say, okay, I'm going to stop right here and catch up. All right. So assuming we are back to the video, we are now going to move on to, I'm actually on step number 20. All right, so step number 20, we are going to draw the cracks in the sidewalk. And so what I'm going to do is somewhere in the front part of this curb, I'm going to choose a spot. I got to get to the correct tool here. Okay, so I'm going to start with a spot and say, okay, if I draw a line from there to the left-hand vanishing point, this is going to be the edge of my sidewalk. Okay, this is a sidewalk, doesn't have any cracks in it yet. I'm now going to go from the left side of my curve, right here, to the right-hand vanishing point. Okay, and that is the very first part of my sidewalk that starts, how we would say the cracks in the sidewalk. And that is step number 20. Again, I think I would stop at this point and go ahead and do just this portion of it. Okay, so in step number 21, we're going to start on the right side of the sidewalk and we're going to draw some lines that go to the left-hand vanishing point. And to be honest with you, my recommendation, if I were just starting very first time doing this, I would put some dots to say, okay, I'm going to have let me see if I can get a little bigger size here. I'm going to have a point right here, and I'm just going to put where all the cracks in the sidewalk would be. So if you are watching this and you want to do the same thing, it's going to help you here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of dots and say, okay, cracks in the sidewalk are all going to be where the red dots are. Okay, and you would actually go all the way back to the vanishing point, but I'm going to leave those as is. All right, once you have designated where you are going to put the cracks in the sidewalk or the breaks, then we are going to say, okay, from this line, I'm going to go, and I'm actually going to do this in a different color here, just so you can see it. I'm going to go from this dot to the left-hand vanishing point. Okay, now this blue line is a construction line, except for right here where it hits, because that would actually be where we would leave a line, and then all of this going back would be erased, and erased. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a little bit more just to kind of give you an idea what I'm talking about. So these lines all go to the vanishing point. Or what you can do is take a straight edge, make sure it's lined up, but only draw it about that far right there, okay? Because if I say, okay, now I got to clean this up, I have a whole lot of erasing to do because this would all be erased. I'll get a bigger one here. This line all the way to the vanishing point would be erased. This line, all of this stuff has to be erased. Okay, we got a lot of erasing to do. If you draw dark, it makes it really, really messy. So again, probably more beneficial to say, okay, I'm going to line up my straight edge and I'm going to draw a line and get back to this, but I'm only going to go from here to here. It just has to line up with the vanishing point straight edge wise, but that's all the more you have to draw. And that's just, it's a really handy thing to do once you get, see that one I don't think would actually look like it goes to the vanishing point. I can't do that on my screen, but you definitely can. Just draw that much of the line, but make sure that it lines up with the vanishing point. Okay, so you would do that all the way back on the right side. So the left side, and this is now on your very last step, which is 23, we're going to do the same thing. We are going to draw lines from this side. I'm not sure why that didn't draw. Let me check one thing here. Okay, we're going to go all the way over here. Left side of the curve going to the right-hand vanishing point. So my lines are going to look like, and I didn't do the dot ahead of time, but their lines are going to look like this. And you do that all the way back, making sure that they line up with the vanishing point. Okay, now technically this is the end of the screen, or excuse me, the worksheet. That's what we see right here on this last step. I do want to show you a couple of additional things to do, because when I look at this, I think, okay, first of all, I need more windows and doors. I also could use more buildings because this doesn't look like a city. It looks like it might be like a little block under construction. So to give you an idea, you would definitely need to draw some more buildings. You need to draw possibly more doors. In fact, on your final assignment, you need to have windows and doors on every building to this point. So I could easily say, okay, I'm going to draw a door right here. I'm going to make sure that it goes to the vanishing point. Okay, so I checked it there real quick. I'm going to make sure then that it goes down. There's two doors since we see two sides of this building. I'm going to draw a door over here. It's vertical. It's going to be kind of a tall, skinny one. Goes to the vanishing point and down. I'm going to draw windows on all these buildings. My lines are getting a little crooked here, people. There we go. Still kind of crooked. Go to the vanishing point. stop it with a vertical line right there, clean it up. I could do windows and doors over here. And then you also need to, once you get a lot of windows and doors, say, okay, I need to now do some cleanup here. All this stuff would be cleaned up, all of these construction lines, and I think I skipped a part because I do believe a little further back in like step number probably 17, 18, 19, I had already erased a bunch of these construction lines. So these would all get erased. You can even erase the horizon line where it goes through the buildings. Okay, so erase, erase. I'm not going to erase it over here because we would actually see the horizon line right there. Okay, last thing I want to show you is some really simple, fun, easy buildings to do. And if you want to just watch, and then at that point you can say, okay, it's time for me to make my own city, what it's going to look like. So what I mean by this, some fun, easy buildings, is I could add some buildings on by just saying, okay, I'm going to draw one over here that's the same size as this one. It goes to the vanishing point, and then it goes straight down. There's a building. I just put some windows and doors on it, and voila, I've got another building. I could draw a even shorter building over here that goes to the vanishing point. I need the bottom of it going to the vanishing point as well. Draw a line down. Put a door on it. Maybe I'll put a door that's actually long enough. There we go. Goes to the vanishing point. Okay, you get the idea with that. So we could do shorter buildings. We could fill it up here. Probably one of the easier, fun buildings to do, though, is some buildings that are in the background. Now, keep in mind that these buildings that I do next are going to be way behind the current buildings, and we would not see the bottom of these. So if I go from here and I go, this would be a good way to draw a really tall one. If I go from here and just draw a line straight up, that's the corner of this building that's way far in the background. Then I'm going to go to the left-hand vanishing point. I'm going to go to the right-hand vanishing point. And then I'm going to draw the left side going straight down and the right side going straight down. So you can see how I'm starting to fill up this city a lot more just by drawing vertical to the vanishing point, left and right, and then straight down. I did not mean for that to line up right where it did. There we go. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Now you know how to make buildings, you know how to make sidewalks, you know how to make windows and doors. In this area right here, I would hope that you have this example plus more where you've tried some buildings further back in the picture. I'm hoping that you've done more windows and doors than what's on this little example right here. And so that when you start your final on the drawing paper, you have a pretty good idea how to make a full looking city with windows and doors and sidewalks. And because of the fact that we did the sidewalk and the curb, we are also showing a street. So at this point, this is the end of the video. It's time for you to just use your knowledge, what you've just learned, and draw and experiment and erase and fix. Have fun.